There's an extraordinary amount of inequality in our world at the moment, and actually that inequality is increasing, and it's increasing at an alarming rate. And so I think you can see it in terms of people who care about that issue and think it's wrong, and it is an evil, it's a social evil. Well, it's all about social justice, really, and I think that's what's led to a diverse collection of people, really, who seem to have had enough.
We've had lots of demonstrations in the past. Most of them have been about anti-war movements, for example, but very, very infrequently do you have people who are middle-class people who actually come out onto the streets on the weekends and who protest the fact that their system is broke. It's broken. It just doesn't respond to them anymore.
Well, I think that the occupation is about a lot of things, but probably most fundamentally, it's about creating. It's about insisting upon the necessity of creating a better, more stable, more just economic system.
I think people are coming out to support this movement because they are aware of the social injustice and economic injustice that's rife in the country today. And they're more and more aware that this injustice, these imbalances, are harming the country as a whole and our future for generations to come.
The people who have been hurt the most by this seem to be the people who are being helped the least. That's part of the problem. Of course, the banks and the corporations were bailed out, essentially on the back of the people. Socialism is a dirty word in some countries, but essentially you saw socialism in action with the credit crunch. All around the world, they took money from the many and gave it to the few, and giving it to people who were better off, people who, by and large, should have known better, took enormous risks and pushed those risks too far. But what unites them together is really an indignation at social justice. Some of them are victims of social injustice, and some of them are people who are passionate about social justice, and they want to see a more just and egalitarian society.
Significant thing is the people who will come out and protest on weekends, the people who are furious in their homes because they're losing their homes because of the mortgage crisis. It's the ability of the success, at least, of this Zuccotti Park movement and Occupy Wall Street movement is going to be in activating, in bringing into a kind of participatory mode all the people who have really suffered so much.
And I think, you know, the self-terminology of the movement in places like the US, the 99%ers, tells you that as well. People have had enough. And there's a critical mass of people building now who have had so much of enough that they want to do something about it. And that's a good sign.
The 99% slogan is a powerful slogan, and it keeps our attention on the basic fact of income inequality. It so happens, I think it's possibly among the groups that have it the worst are those people who are just graduated from college with huge amounts of college debt, without a lot of working experience, looking to enter into an economy in which they feel like they can, you know, work hard and get somewhere. There's so many points in which I think the economy is distorted by income inequality that recent graduates are simply going to find any number of ways in which they're going to be struggling. In the long term, what's at stake is, I think, the viability of our democracy. I think the occupation movement can do a great deal to shift the political discourse that's going on in this country day to day, week to week, and over the next couple of years, simply by insisting upon unemployment, taxation, income inequality as the fundamental issues.
So this is very positive. This kind of knowledge, greater awareness, and a feeling of shared responsibility for the future of the country is really important. If we can keep up this feeling of shared responsibility, wanting to develop loving kindness and compassion and protect people from suffering. People are suffering a lot, losing their homes, losing their jobs, and they're saddled with massive student debt. There's a lot of unhappiness and tragedy, in fact. So I hope that we can turn it around.
I guess it could bring about real change if people care enough and they continue to care enough. I think that there seems to be a will around the world that people will push this and continue to push it, and it will factor into elections. I think the key for somewhere like the United States is that people don't let it go away as an issue. So I think a lot of good will come of it, but it needs momentum, it needs energy, and it needs people to continue caring. You know, there's a famous saying that all that has to happen for evil to triumph is that good people do nothing. And so that's the biggest danger. So there's a lot of good people doing something at this moment in time, and if they continue to do this, then more good will come of it.